Family, what's up? We are back on the CEO Pulse podcast where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. I am sitting down with my friend, Ken Van Liew. Check it out. This guy has over 30 years of experience in syndication and development, right? He's been in real estate for a long, long time, has seen the highs, the lows. His background is nothing short of impressive, really. We're talking about, magician to civil engineer to just, building skyscrapers and stuff like that. So I'm very, very excited to tap into his wealth of knowledge. He's also the author of the international bestseller, Modern Wealth Building Formula. So if you haven't read it and you're into real estate, I highly, highly recommend you tap into this book and this, set of golden nuggets here. So Ken, thank you so much, man, for being on the show. I appreciate you.
Oh, no, thank you, Rafael. It's great to see you again. Get to spend a little time without the crowds around us,
Yeah, I know. It's always a bit crazy. We often run into each other at the masterminds, but there's a lot of activity going on. Sometimes it can be a little difficult to sit down and then pick up a solid conversation. So I'm excited to pick your brain here. Yeah.
Likewise, it's great to talk to you. Good to see you.
Thank you. Give me a little bit of background on how you got started. You jumped into real estate you said it was around 99. You were a civil engineer before then. But I remember from one of your presentations, your upbringing was very, very, very driven. You always had that instinct to make shit happen, right? And I mean, I think it's one of the biggest things that an entrepreneur needs to embrace. And it sounds from your trajectory that you embrace that at the very very early age. So just bring us up through the whole process.
Yeah. I think a lot of the trajectory as a kid came from sports. I definitely wasn't the best student growing up. I actually had some learning disabilities. I was a slow starter. I was really good at sports, and I guess it was in college. I think after I failed Calc 2 for the second time, and I met my wife, that I start to really relate. Hey, I'm the captain of the football team. How do I relate my success on the field in the classroom? And that, we always talk about mindset, but that was kind of the mindset that you could take something that and you do well in one area and find what's common in another area and just like cross collateralize. And then the next thing you know, you have something else to do, because you know how it is getting started. You're not quite sure what the direction to go in sometimes. But, I was basically told, go to college and get a degree. And, I wanted to be an engineer, but like I said, it took me 6 years to get the degree. And during that time, I had some summer experience, like working on construction jobs. So when I finally graduated college, I had won this design development award and it planted a seed. But, I had just graduated in civil engineering, so I had to go get a job. That's what you're supposed to do. Dad's like, go get a job, So I went and got a job, and I was working as an engineer, and I was going stir crazy. I was sitting at the desk, and I wanted to get out, excuse me, and be like on my summer construction job, getting a tan and all that kind of stuff. And, the next thing I landed a construction job in like Poughkeepsie, New York. And I was just like 21 years old, and I was building a building, and that led to, doing a skyscraper at like 26 as a project super and, working myself up the ladder in the building industry.
Wow.
And then one day, I was 6 figures in debt. I just had twins. I was standing on top of this 30-story building and going, something's wrong with this picture. I better go into real estate because I'm in debt in construction. And that was kind of like when I, in 1997 had the thought, I need to get started. And 2 years later, 99 was when we did our first project. And I was like, really like, think big or go home.
Yeah.
The first project was $17 million. And I never looked back,
Wow. Wait. Okay. Pump your brakes. So you're standing there and you're having this epiphany, right? Okay. I think I need to tap into real estate as opposed to building, but getting, not just building it, but, getting paid on it and then jumping into these projects. And then you jumped into a $17 million project. Is that, how do you go from cold turkey into a $17 million project?
Yeah. Yeah, I tell people it's a mental disorder. you know, no,
Overachievers. Damn it.
yeah, no, I joke because, I guess I coined this phrase like top down thinking,
Mhm.
and as I stood on top of that building,
Love that.
once again, I knew how to build the building,
Mhm.
and and what happened was is I started, I didn't know much, I didn't know anything about real estate. What I actually knew, Raphael, was I knew that the developer earned a fee for building. So here, in my like finite, infinite wisdom about real estate,
Yeah.
I said to myself, if I can build a project as the developer, even though I don't have any money to get equity, I can at least pay myself a fee. So
Yeah.
I says, okay, $100 million building. If I could do $10 million, 5% development fee, that's a half a million bucks. That'll let me quit my job. And
Yeah.
that's really kind of how it started. And then, I was on a golf course one day and I told this guy a story. It was for an outing that my mother-in-law invited me to. Like, I'm like, I can't even afford to join a country club. Why am I going to go play? But I started daydreaming, and I'm like, hey, maybe I could join this country club. Next thing you know, like 3 months later, I'm a member because they had an executive special, and I'm playing golf with someone, and I convinced them to lend me 100 grand, and I bought a 17-acre piece property because I didn't even know how to find real estate deals. So what was I doing? I was calling architects and engineers. This architect said, call this dentist. He has a certificate of need. I'm like, what's that? It's like, oh, you could build a bed, like certificate of need, 113 beds. I'm like, really? I could do that. And
Yeah.
that's how I kind of fell into real estate backwards, figuring out how can I replace my job in order to get into real estate, and I
Yeah.
was more like learned how to build it. And then I kind of learned like, wow, maybe I could do this again. Then I started doing it a couple of times and then tested it across the board. And then, 20 years later, I wrote the book. So, but
Yeah.
it took a while, it just overnight success only took 33 years and like 256 days, 17 hours and 16 minutes,
Yeah, no, it's insane. It goes to show, right? Like digging the trench is always, one of those things that's especially now at a societal level. I think like it's very much undermined. Like people want to get to that, level of extreme success overnight, and most don't understand that it takes a while. Like I'm not saying that people don't make it quick, but that's the exception, not the norm. Like you got to build a trend, you got to build up that tenacity as an individual, and that thicker skin, and of course the experience. Like it just one thing that you said that just kind of resonated with me at the beginning was you started off and nothing was clear. You had no clear direction on where you wanted to go. You had a, you're kind of tapping into a couple of different spaces, and then you end up in this place where you have $100,000 to buy land, and then you have the skill set to build on top of it and monetize. Um, do do when you say daydreaming, what do you mean by that? Break it down.
um so yeah, to lean into what you said, um yeah, so we're just related, and I didn't want that to come across as where it should be intimidating. I want people to know that you can accomplish anything that you put your mind to.
Mm,
And because that's what I knew, it's really, life begins at the end of your comfort zone, right? So if you're putting your arms around, a 1,200 pound elephant to try to, start eating it, you like the old cliche, you got to take, you know, um, one bite at a time, and I may have referred to, I think you said daydreaming. Um, it's really about visualizing your dream. Like when I was standing on top of that 30-story building, it was the Brooklyn Union Gas headquarters, and looking out at the World Trade Center, and the guy that I built that building with actually built the new World Trade Center. I mean, we were two rock stars for like the number one CM firm in the world.
wow, amazing.
But it was those days when I was in that building and I started to dream about, just creating and being on my own, because you don't, I mean, I started with nothing. My dad used to send me $10 a week. I would first things first, buy a case of beer. It was only $4.64 in 1981, right? And then I'd wash my clothes, and I was broke. But I sold T-shirts in college to hustle. Always like working in the gym. I was on the football team, but that's a lot of the stuff that built character. Because I didn't have a silver spoon, and that's how you learn to figure things out when you don't necessarily have the exact direction. Especially for someone wanting to get started in real estate. I always tell people, you'll hear me say, like, I'm going to think out loud. I don't know exactly how this looks. And it's just like, when you're going on vacation or something, like, if you don't have a map, you could drive around for a while. You don't see things until you get around the corner.
Yeah.
So if you're going to stop and not walk to the corner and look around at the opportunity, you start to deprive yourself, and that's where you have to have the mindset, never give up, always keep your dreams alive, and just keep plugging forward.
Mm. Yeah, I love it. I think it's one of the things that happens, right? Because we get caught up in the daily and the taskiness of things and the difficulty of things. Sometimes like the dream kind of starts fading. It may be predominant at the beginning, but you get into adversity, you get into things, setbacks, and should that happens when you're trying to build a business, and it's easy to forget about what that dream looks like. um I mean, you've tapped into syndication and put together billions of dollars in capital investments and have multiple projects. So your background is concise, right? How do you hang on to that drive of wanting to achieve? And like, I know you have another project that's pretty cool, and I don't know if we can talk about it or not, but it's coming up. It's on the along the lines of TV, but it goes to show, right, that once you have that track record, that experience, and that deliverability, constant deliverability, it's you get recognized, and then the overnight success happens. But now, how do
Yes.
you hold on to that dream, like throughout the, I'm sure you've gone through adversity. I'm sure you've seen
Yeah.
the high highs and the low lows, and question the path. So what's your process there?
Yeah, it's a great question because, I lost it twice. When Lehman Brothers crashed, we lost $300 million in one day. I didn't really want to do real estate anymore,
Yeah.
and,
Wow.
I guess honestly, I may have a weird thing about me, but I have been a magician since I was 12. And every time something happened, I would always revert back to performing magic, right?
Mm,
And keeping that magic in my life, it always enabled me to get back in the game, right? So, at times in life, I go back to the sports. When you get knocked on your butt in football and you get your bell rung, like, I mean, you're seeing stars sometimes. So, you got to go to the sideline and regroup,
yeah.
kind of get your act together. And that is what I call is an analogy to life, right? Sometimes you go to the sideline to, get your bell unrung. Sometimes you step off the sideline and you actually go into the stands and you watch the game for a little while. And the whole key, if you analogize that to life, is you got to get back on the field. You've heard people say you got to get back up on the horse. So every time, I got knocked down, I don't know sometimes what did it. I think sometimes it was, wow, I had twins, and I had the kids. But, I had this drive since I was a kid. I won little league championships. I won state championships in college, football championships, and I just always believe that, we are all a champion. I say it to this day, I am a champion, and I
Mm.
think, everybody is a champion. And, with that mindset, and you add in the things that like gratitude and serving others and giving, you'll have whatever you want in life, because as we talk about real estate, I when I started my journey in 1999, I was introduced to Tony Robbins. My first firewalk was in 2001. I was with him in Life Mastery, and back then, I was a big guy.
Mm.
I was 248 pounds. I had a lesson with Stu Middleman, who ran from California to New York in 57 days, 2.5 marathons a day. But today I'm proud to say I have most
Wow.
energy in my life. I weigh 170 pounds. I lost like a 75-pound blanket, but it was all
Mm.
about building the mindset and the daily, rituals that make a difference, understanding how to journal, put it all together so you could pay it forward because, you know, money, it's great. It reduces friction, allows you to do a lot of things. But, when you start from nothing and, you're happy when you meet, I'm still married 39 years and, we would go on picnics and buy cold cuts and have sandwiches. And we were just as happy. And we realized that, when Lehman Brothers crashed and, our organization lost $300 million and, we were out of business that day, to say the
Yeah.
least.
Well, I mean,
But
I guess that can be a hit.
it was a
Man,
hitter, right.
bouncing
But
back from that though, it's
yeah, it
man.
worked out though. But it's good stuff. I mean, it's like, like they say, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
Mhm.
And I probably got in more riskier situations pouring concrete in New York City to getting killed in that day. But it's kind of funny. But yeah, we had a concrete business in New York for a while, just because we could, we were building skyscrapers, and some of them were for other owner developers, and we were able to do that service for a while, and then we found, it was just kind of creating a conflict of interest. But when I started in the business, to give you an example, in building, everything was unionized, and
Mm.
there was some interesting guys on my job sites. So
Yeah.
we had a good time, but it was fun.
Yeah, and dealing with the unions, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that he had to have in there, right? Uh, as opposed to having, I mean, I remember the fire unions were pretty adamant about certain things, and of course the departments themselves not necessarily liked some of this, some of the stuff that was going on, but I mean, there was an advocate, going on.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
go ahead.
New, no, I'm just saying, New York City was, you had a checklist. If you want to run the site, you need to have a teamster, and needs to have a little apartment. You
Yeah.
need to have a master mechanic and an engineer. He needs a little shack so he can hang out with the boys, and you had to set everybody up, and it was like a little volleyball team.
Yeah.
Then the elevator operator would come in, and you had to take care of him too.
Man, I can't imagine. So
Yeah.
it's incredible, man, to see how you just broke through, went straight to the front of the line, really, on in terms of big thinking, right? Personally, it's one of the things that I've struggled. I didn't have the awareness that I could think big until later on in my life, and
Mhm.
when it sank, when it kicked in, it was a total game changer for my results,
Yes.
my commitment to things, and that sort of thing. But it took me a while. So I admire, anybody who just goes straight to the front of it. Like,
Mhm.
you're here. I'm
Yeah.
gonna break into real estate, not just real estate, but just crush it in a $17 million project to start off with, and then of course do everything else that you're into. Right now, you're doing major developments, right? Multifamily and just different ventures like that, right?
Yeah, and I think, it's funny because you just made me think. When we were kids, we would always go to New York City for class trips, and I wrote about it in my book. But standing on top of that Empire State Building as a kid, and then the World Trade Center, it lights you up. So,
Mhm.
if you haven't done that and you have children, which I think you do,
Yeah.
take the kids there, because it just lights you up. But it's really, once again, those dreams coming true. And I may have changed the topic there, but mindset, creating your vision, creating vision boards, morning rituals, journaling, all of those key factors, so that you can go into like a daily zone action and really get like amazing results.
One thing that I keep getting, and especially get this a lot from students: does it really work? Do I need a vision board? Do I need to actually come in and meditate? Do I need to actually do like this morning ritual? It all sounds like cliche, right? But anybody who's doing stuff, like, actually having results. Like we see it on the masterminds. It's everybody has a degree of practice, and it, I don't know what the science behind it is. I just know that it works.
Yeah. No, there's, it's funny you say that because, I mean, we've all held each other accountable, right? We've known
Yeah,
each other for years, and it's almost, we're just playing at a higher standard, but
yeah,
there's no question, I mean, I had an accountability partner that every day for years at 7 o'clock, I did a 15-minute each way call, and that made a huge difference, writing down, your gratitude each day and what your three
yeah.
mission critical things are. And then at the end of the day, measuring yourself, there is no doubt it makes a difference. I read a book after the World Trade Center collapse called Effortless Prosperity. And there's no question in my mind, I
Mm.
have manifested everything that I've had in my life today through that thinking, that type of thinking, that it is effortless prosperity when you put your mind to it.
Effortless prosperity. I'm gonna make a note of that. I
Yeah.
love it when people drop just golden nuggets like that, and things that have made an impact. Everybody has it resonates with something different, right? It may be the same message, but delivered in a different way by a different person, different context, or whatever, and it's gonna land to a certain audience. But books, I mean, books is just. I wish I would have started reading a lot earlier than I did. Than I did. Um, so, Ken, what are you kind of switching gears here a little bit? What are you most excited about right now? I mean, I know again you have multiple projects going on, and then crush it in the real estate space, but you're tapping into different verticals. Can you talk to me about the stuff that's
Yep.
coming up?
Yeah. We really have like three or four real exciting things. One, I mentioned we are, we're in production now for a third or fourth quarter national documentary on real estate today, keys to investing. We
Wow.
just hit yeah, real excited about that. We just hit the front page of the Franklin Times as the largest project in Franklin County history, North Carolina, Lewisburg, North Carolina, called Lewisburg Falls.
Mm,
We bought the center of Chester, New Jersey, 30-acre site that has affordable housing, market rate housing, CVS pharmacy, restaurants, commercial office. Lewisburg has over 200 residential units, townhomes, 108 flats, self-storage, flex office, retail, hotels, wellness center, medical office. We have other residential sites in Bedminster, New Jersey. And this year we're starting the Global Freedom Fund. Real excited. The name may change, but that's the idea behind it. And the one thing that I'm real proud of, we now it's up getting approaching 100 members, is the new Global Real Estate Investment Enterprise, which is going to be a major legacy. And we're going to build that up to like 1,000 boots on the ground throughout the country. But we have just high level professionals. It's invite only for people that are all about giving is receiving and creating relationship equity within the group. So if you need like a high level architect or a construction guy or a finance guy or money, they're all within the group. It's a
mm,
lifetime community. So once you join, you're basically part of something for the rest of your life. So there's no rush. So if someone wants to get involved in real estate and they meet the commitment criteria, because it's not necessarily about the experience, because everybody brings value to the table, even if you're a successful parent,
yeah.
people need to learn about parenthood in the midst of building their businesses so they don't, miss those magic moments that I missed initially that I had to make up, with my children,
Yeah.
because I was building skyscrapers. But hey, I'm here to help people, jump over hurdles and break through walls and just make it a little easier than, what we had to go through. I mean, even you, I mean, your family's from a different culture, you had to learn the culture, the language, everything,
Yeah.
and you did it, and that speaks volume.
No, it's they say we're the average of the five people that we hang around with, right? One thing that was, and I've said this before on the podcast, but one thing that was a total game changer for me was actually intentionally tapping into higher level rooms where I walked in and felt inadequate to a point. But once you
Mhm.
start opening up and having conversations, you find out that you have a lot more in common with people than I mean, and I'll speak, for myself on this, but than I thought I did. I'm like, what am I doing in this room? Like these people, I mean, Dolph LaRousse is in here. Like I've read his books. Like it's insane. And then you're there, and then we have rock stars there, and it's just it's incredible, right? And then we start opening up and having conversations like, okay, cool, wow, like there's challenges at every level. There's challenges, and I think like you said, right? We're all champions. It's just different areas of life. And when you put yourself
Yeah.
in a room full of champions in different areas, it's epic. The perspective impact is I mean, it's invaluable, I think.
It really is. And that's, that's like the relationship equity. I mean, it would take years for us to meet each other and cross paths. And
Oh yeah.
that's why I love, for guys like Matt that bring us all together and, allow us to share, what we've learned and, bring it
Yeah.
out to the world.
Yeah. So talk to me. You mentioned a fund before the group. So you have the group, I'm assuming is going to be, is that like a private mastermind type of setup or?
Um, yeah, so I was talking about two different things. So the
Yeah.
global real estate investment enterprise, I called it an enterprise because I didn't want it to necessarily be, another mastermind. I guess masterminds in my definition are more kind of where you get together, a couple times a year. This is more like a weekly thing,
Mm-hmm.
like it's more like a high level consulting, where, people that are in the group, it's all about doing deals. So they
Yeah.
come and they talk to me and instead of me training them, the training is all done, by the training courses that I give them. But this is not about theory. We talked about in the beginning. This is about the practical aspect of getting it done. So, I consulted and was a real estate advisor for, a lot of clients also throughout my career. So when people are on a call with me, I'm just telling them what to do. I'm like, where are you stuck? I'm like, here, go to this module, learn this, do this, call this person, do that. The fund is separate. So the way that my platform's kind of set up, my global real estate strategy business is my development company,
Mm-hmm.
and then we created an educational platform, which is TK Global Publishing, and that has the whole educational platform, and then the enterprise is part of that publishing kind of educational platform, and the fund that we're creating is really going to be an offshoot of my real estate strategy company, the development company.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So, what I did was over the years, you got, like you said, you got to stay in the same space because it's easy to get diverted with all the shiny pennies, and after the collapse in 2008 there, I was like looking at, buying Stewart's root beer and getting into the car industry. And, I'd had to screw my head on straight and stick
Yeah.
to the real estate.
Yeah. No, it's and you have a good overlap of like the different um um verticals within the same business. One somebody told me a while back, that there's a lot of different ways to play in the same space, right? So you break into the area of real estate, but then there's a lot of different ways to actually come in and help and pay it forward, I guess, in a sense, when you're putting all these things together. And a big stigma really is cutting the learning curve and tapping into somebody else for their experience and their coaching. A lot of the at least what was going through my mind at the beginning, that's limited beliefs. Absolutely, 1,000%. It's like, no, everybody's just in it for they want to become rich off of my money. Like, no, trust me, like people are making a lot more money, but without the need of a membership or the need of something. It's a matter of being part of something bigger. When you get to a
Yeah.
point where you can actually create something and evolve as an entrepreneur, as an individual. So I love everything that you're doing here.
Thank
Ken,
you.
if
Thank
somebody
you.
wants to find out more about you, maybe reach out and take part of one your wealth of experience, or inquire more about what you have going on in terms of the enterprise, where is the best place to find you at?
Yeah, just go to my website. It's kenvanliew.com, Ken, all one word, V is in Victor, ANLIEW.com. And
Mm-hmm.
on there, I would suggest people, grab my book. There's a free book. I'm not looking to make any money. There's some postage expense, but grab the book. Dolph DeRoos wrote the forward. He was definitely my mentor, back in the
Rockstar
day.
right there. Yeah.
And and then the other thing, if anybody ever wanted to talk to me, I'm still taking some calls. If you ever wanted to do like a strategy session, I have a 45-minute strategy session. There's a little button says become an expert. But yeah, just reach out. Things are going to get exciting, and I really get a lot out of hearing people and finding out where they're stuck. And
Mm.
figuring out, what's the best runway for people to take off towards success. And then once we get that, you step onto the real estate airline here and take off. That's
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It really is that type of space. The opportunity is definitely there for a big takeoff. And the website is globalstrategies.com. Is that the same website? Or
actually the kenvanliew.com has
Ken
all
Van Liew?
that, but also my business website is globalrealestatestrategies.com.
Okay.
Ken Van Liew, if you guys want to look at any of the exciting New York City projects, I have my projects on Ken Van Liew. And I want to be like you when I grow up. So we were thinking maybe about starting a podcast and maybe end of the year called Modern Wealth Building Formula with Ken Van Liew, money,
Yeah.
business, and real estate.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love. If there's any way I can help you out with that, let me know.
Yeah,
Um,
it's funny because that I just had deja vu. So I was 17 years old, and my you're gonna laugh now.
yeah.
My good friend Mark Pappas, he was the quarterback. I was the center. We were state champions, and we used to have a radio show. It was called Obscured by the Clouds, and we used to start off by playing Pink Floyd. But someone used to say, "Hey Ken, you got a really good radio voice there,"
I can
So
feel the
anyway,
vibe. I can feel the vibe. Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna give it a shot. So, Modern Wealth Building Formula with Ken Van Liew. I just put a stake in the ground there.
Boom.
Money,
It just
business,
happened
real
officially
estate.
at the CEO Pulse podcast.
There you go.
Yeah, my friend, if there's anything I can do to help you out in that space, let me know.
No, I definitely will.
I'd be happy to
Well,
just
I
share
want to
anything.
have you on as a guest.
You what?
I want you to share. I want to have you on as a guest, and you could share your story.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. I'd love to. Yeah, I'd be honored. So this is my favorite question, if you were walking down the street and you ran into your 17-year-old self, what would you tell that kid?
Mm, wow. Yeah, I would say number one, do everything in moderation, because I definitely had a phase there, as captain of the football team, of just like having too much fun. Um, and to not worry as much, and to build rapport with people that have already done it. And
Mm,
I learned late in life that there's networking, and then there's ecosystem merging, where you build a deeper emotional rapport with people, and it's about those relationships that bring the fulfillment and the wealth that you're truly looking for.
yeah, yeah, I love it. I love it. Ken, thank you so much, man. It's just listening to your story. It's inspirational, to say, just to say the least, right? And it's amazing, just everything that the level of think that you have going on, the level of projects that you're tapping into and continue to tap into, after a long stretch of success. So it's an honor having you on the podcast, man.
No,
Um,
likewise,
I,
man.
yeah, I hope
Truly.
to see you soon in person over here at the next mastermind that we have going on. So
Yeah. I'll definitely be there in September, and really, really excited just to get through this nervousness. We're headed out to. They want to take some pictures of me standing on the 101st floor of one of these buildings in New York City on the edge. So
oh
we're doing that Thursday.
oh oh well, I
So
mean,
here we go,
you're a skyscraper.
baby.
You're a skyscraper builder, so it
Yeah.
should be
Oh yeah,
walk
yeah.
in the park.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I walked the deck, but yeah, we're gonna get out there. I'm excited.
Insane, man. I love it. I love it. Ken, thank you so much, man. It's been a blast having you on the show.
Yeah, likewise, brother.
Yeah, family, there you guys have it. Stay focused. You got this.